Hey guys, this video is going to go over solving inequalities. Please make sure you take notes while you are solving these problems. Alright, so we have this inequality here. We have 2x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 10. I'd like you to pause the video and I'd like you to think of two solutions to this inequality. So two numbers you could put in for x that would make this true. And then I want you to find two non-solutions. Two numbers you could put in for x that would not make this true. Okay, so I'll give you an example of a solution. Maybe I pick 5. All right, if I plug a 5 in for x, it would say 2 times 5 plus 4 is bigger than or equal to 10. If I did that, I'd get 10 plus 4, which is 14, and that is bigger than or equal to 10. So that is a solution. All right, an example of a non-solution might be 1. If I plug in a 1 for x, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 4 is 6. 6 is not bigger than or equal to 10. So that is a non-solution. Okay, so far we came up with a solution and a non-solution. So what I want you to think about, are there more solutions that work? Well, there definitely is. If I plugged a 6 in here, that would definitely work. If I plugged a 7 in here, that would work. What's the very first number that would work if I plugged it in that would make it true? I know 1 doesn't work. Does 2 work? Does 3 work? Can you find that first number? So what I'm going to show you how to do today is to find that first number that works. That way we can say like every number over 5 works or every number greater than 4 works. So we're going to try to find the very first number that works so we can write it a little bit easier. All right, so there is a way to figure this out. What you can do is you can solve an inequality just like you solve an equation. So if I'm taking a look at the following inequality, I want to know what are all the numbers that I could plug in for x that make this true. Now there's a lot of them. Again, I could plug in a negative 2. That would make this true. A negative 5, that would make this true. There's lots of numbers, but I want to find out all of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve this just like I would solve an equation. So I'm going to draw my line down just like if that was the equal sign. All right, my first step to get the x by itself is to subtract 5. So go ahead and subtract 5 from both sides. Okay, so I end up with 2x, and on the other side I end up with negative 2. Okay, I have one more step. I'm going to divide by 2. So I end up with x and negative 1 on the other side. Okay, so when you solve an inequality like that, first thing you want to do, this is going to be your boundary point. This is called a boundary point. So that's where I'm going to put my dot. So I'm going to come down to my negative 1 on my graph. I'm going to put a dot. Now, I need to figure out which way am I going to go. Is it all the numbers to the right that make this true or all the numbers to the left? So what you need to do for these is you're going to pick a test point. So it doesn't matter what test point you use. You're going to pick a point either to the right or to the left. I'm just going to use, let's use 10 for my test point. So 10 is going to be my test point. All right, I need to go back to the original equation. So I'm going to go back to the 2x plus 5 is less than 3. Okay, and I'm going to plug a 10 in. So if I plug a 10 in here, 2 times 10 is 20, plus 5, that's 25. Is 25 less than 3? No. So 10 does not work, so I know when I graph this, my arrow is going to go the opposite way that the 10 is. So it's going to go this way. Now, the other thing you need to make sure you check for is the original symbol was just a less than symbol here. So this should be an open circle. It should not be filled in. All right, so we just solved an inequality. Now, your last thing that you need to do is write an inequality for this. So my line shows x, all the numbers smaller than negative 1. So there is my final solution. All right, we're going to try another one. So if you can write this one down, 2x minus 5 is less than x plus 2. So I want to know every number that will make this true. So you can go ahead and draw your line down. We're going to solve it like an equation to start with. So I am going to subtract x from both sides. Okay, as I do that, the side cancels. I end up with x minus 5, and on the other side I get 2. Okay, my next step to get the x by itself is I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Okay, the first side cancels. I end up with x, and I end up with 7. Now, a common mistake is a lot of people just put x equals 7. That is not wrong, or that is not correct, sorry. That's just the special point that will help me decide if it's the numbers bigger than 7 that work or the numbers less than 7. So what I need to do is I'm going to draw a number line, okay, and I'm going to put 0, and maybe I'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, here's 7, okay, and I'm going to put my dot above 7. Okay, it's not going to be filled in. Now, I need to figure out, well, is it the numbers higher than 7 that work or the numbers lower than 7? Okay, to do that, we are going to show a test point. You guys have to show a test point. Okay, some of you aren't doing that, so please make sure you show one. So, what you can do to test is you can pick a number either bigger than 7 or less than 7 to test. I like to test 0. So I even like to kind of mark it down below here and say, oh, I'm going to test 0. I'm going to plug that in. So I'm going to do 2 times 0, okay, minus 5. It should be less than 0 plus 2. Sorry, I ran out of space. Okay, so if I do the first side, 2 times 0 is 0, minus 5 is negative 5, is less than 0 plus 2 is 2. Okay, negative 5 is less than 2. This works. So that means that I'm going to draw my arrow towards 0, towards the point that I tested that worked. Okay, again, now the last step a lot of people are forgetting is to write what this shows. Okay, so I need to actually write an inequality. So I'm going to write x, it's all the numbers less than 7 will make this true. So this is my solution. Okay, let's try one more. So why don't you guys go ahead and get this one. First thing, let's draw our line down through the inequality symbol. So I don't want x's on both sides, so I am going to add 2x to both sides. So go ahead and add 2x. Okay, this side over here will cancel. I end up with 5x minus 3, and then on the other side I get 2. Okay, my next step, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Okay, I end up with 5x and 5. And then my last step is to divide by 5. So I end up with x and 1. Okay, so what I know about that is that that's where I'm going to put my point. So I'm going to come down here and put a dot at 1. And notice I left it open this time because it was just a less than symbol. So that's my boundary point. So now to figure out which way I'm going to draw my arrow, I'm going to pick a test point. You can pick a test point over here to the right or to the left. Okay, this time I'll pick one over here to the left. I'll use 0 as my test point. So you have to go back to the original equation. I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to write 3 instead of x. I'm going to put a 0. That's my test point. Minus 3. I'll put that symbol is less than 2 minus 2 times 0. That was my test point. So I need to actually work that out. Well, 3 times 0 is 0. Minus 3, that's negative 3. Okay, I'll just keep my less than. And then 2 minus 2 times 0 is 0. 2 minus 0 is 2. So now I just need to see, is this true? Is negative 3 less than 2? It is, so my point that my test point 0 works, so I'm going to draw my arrow going that way. So all the numbers less than 0, or less than 1 will work. Okay, my last step is I need to write the inequality for what I have shown on my number line. So this is showing all the numbers less than 1. So I'm going to come up here to my inequality, right here. And I'm going to write x is less than 1. It's all the x is less than 1. So when you solve one of these, you need to have your answer like this, and you need to have your picture on your number line. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do one like this. So first thing, you set it up the same way. Draw your line through the inequality symbol, and let's subtract 2 from both sides. Okay, when I do that, I end up with x over 3 equals 2. All right, I just have one more step. The opposite of dividing by 3 is multiplying by 3. So I'm going to times both sides by 3. When I do that, 3, if I times by 3 and then divide by 3, that'll just turn into a 1 or 1x. And over here, I end up with 6. Now remember, it's not x equals 6. We're going to have to figure out, that's just the first point that works. Okay, so the boundary point. So I'm going to go down to a number line. I'm going to put 0. I'll just do 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, remember, you put your point at 6. That's your boundary point. First point that kind of works, or else it's the point that works right after it. So 6 doesn't actually work, but all the points either after it or before it do work. So I'm going to pick a test point. I'm going to choose 0. So again, I like to kind of mark it. I'm going to write it in my original equation. So I'm going to take 0, I'm choosing 0 over 3 plus 2 is bigger than 4. So again, I just went back to my original one. Well, 0 divided by 3 is 0, plus 2 is 2. 2 is not bigger than 4. That's not true. So I need to draw my arrow going the opposite way. Okay, and then last thing, remember you have to write an inequality. That shows everything bigger than 6, so I'm going to say x is bigger than 6. So in this case, this picture shows that 6 does not work, but every number right after 6 does. Okay, let's take a look at a word problem. It says your middle school is having a carnival. Admission to the carnival is $8, and every game that you play inside costs 50 cents. You have $20. Okay, I want to write an inequality that shows how many games you can play. So first thing, I know that to get into the carnival, it cost me $8, plus I have to pay 50 cents per game. I don't know how many games I played, okay, but I know it's 50 cents per game, so I'll call that G, or X you could call it. All right, so next step, I know that I only have $20, so what I spend, here's what I'm spending, 8 plus 50 cents per game. I can't spend more than that, so I have to keep it under $20. Now I could spend exactly 20, so I'll put is equal to 20. So again, here's what it shows. It cost me $8 to get in, plus 50 cents per game. I want that money I spend to be less than or equal to the $20 I have. So if I look at my multiple choice, it looks like that will end up being, if I look at that carefully, it looks like it's C. The 50 cents per game plus the $8 less than 20. Okay, I just want to quickly review a between inequality. So it says your essay has to be at least 150 words, but no more than 300. So if I draw a graph out for that, okay, I'll just put here's 0, here's 150, here's 300. Okay, so my essay, it has to be at least 150. So I'm going to come here and put a dot at 150. At least 150 means it has to be 150 or bigger, so that would be going this way. But then it has to be no more than 300. So 300, it can't be any more than that, but it can be less than that, so I need to go this way. It can be exactly 300, so I'll fill it in. So here is my picture. It's between 150 and 300. So remember to write an inequality like that. The lowest it can be is 150. The highest it can be is 300. I want it to be somewhere between there, so I'll put X is between there. Now, if I take a look at just this part, X has to be bigger than 150 or equal to it. But if I look over here, X has to be smaller than or equal to 300. So here's my inequality. Okay, now that you learned how to solve inequalities, you're going to go back and you are going to download the slides that say self-paced. You're going to complete all of them. You need to show your work and answer every question. You must show a test point. Make sure you show that. If not, I will fill in a late. You also need to make sure at the end you write the inequality. So whatever you graph on your number line, if you graph this, you need to write the inequality next to it. X is bigger than or equal to 2. Do not write X equals 2. That's not true. Okay, don't write that. You need to write the inequality for it. And then make sure you submit when you are finished.